Hi there, it's Christine Hendricks with Jacquelyn. We're off the cuff today. Before we get talking, I want to introduce Jacquelyn in the proper way because, we got a powerhouse here. All right, Jacquelyn is enrolled with the Northwestern Shoshone Nation. Is that pronounced right? Shoshone? Shoshone, thank you. And lives in Vancouver, Washington. She's an author of The Healing Survivors, a certified emotion code practitioner, body code practitioner, T3 therapist, native herbalist, native holistic healer, psychology student, and practitioner for the Inside Out Institute. Jacquelyn integrates the emotion, body code, and her native traditional healing to create an output that will help you connect and heal physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Throughout her life, she has faced multiple hardships that she's had to push through herself. Jacquelyn is a rape survivor, and she has made it her mission to help other survivors heal and rid themselves from their trauma in order to find peace, clarity, and purpose. Woo! we're like, whoa. And, I kind of want to dig into this book, but actually first I want you to fill me in on some of the background, because I was looking at this and I was like, certified emotional code practitioner. I have no idea what that even is. Body code practitioner. So fill me in on that, and then I'd really like to dig in.
Yeah. So through our own healing journey, we end up going through different modalities, talk therapy, all these different resources are out there. And for me, when I was introduced to the emotion code and body code, what this work does is works on the subconscious side to release trauma, the emotions, the trapped emotions, the memories, the negative belief systems we create that are causing us to relive our trauma every single day. So when I was 16 years old, after I went through my healing process for rape, I started developing different coping mechanisms. And when I started to do that, it was starting to trigger depression, anxiety, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, and so on. And really what I was trying to find was a modality that worked for me, that helped me release it and step into my power. And so what I do for my clients is I work on the subconscious level by releasing trapped emotions and trapped energies that have been suppressed from our trauma that is now manifesting in physical, mental, and emotional ways. So now what I do is I release it energetically. I use kinesiology, so muscle testing, which ends up contacting, basically, and connecting with the subconscious mind, where we're able to find yes or no answers to what is being triggered because of the suppressed energy.
Wow. That sounds really interesting. Mm-hmm. I've not heard of anybody that actually really teaches that. Maybe I'm just out of the loop, kind of like what's out there. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So is this something really unique? Because it seems like it to me. Or do you find there's, a few people out there doing it?
So there's about 4,000 practitioners. It's been around for about 10 years now. The creator his name is Dr. Bradley Nelson, and he used to be a chiropractor. And so when he was working on his clients, adjusting, he realized that there is something more to their pain. And so he started studying Reiki, Chinese medicine as well. And he ended up creating the emotion code, which is just 60 different emotions that we are most commonly found. So anger, anxiety, shock, right? So he ends up finding that these emotions are what is causing our bodies to have these pains. So it's like you go through life and you're putting our baggage in our backpack. And so it's just weighing us down, and it ends up, with us for the rest of our lives. There's only 4,000 practitioners. I'm one of the 4,000. And so this work is incredible. At least for me, when I was going through my trauma and healing, what I loved about it is I didn't have to talk about it. I didn't have to relive it. I just simply yep, okay, that was the emotion. I know what it triggered from. Take a deep breath, release it, and then it's gone. And so what I found, even for me and my clients, is the day before I went and had my first session, I was completely depressed, hard for me to get out of bed. Go see my practitioner. She does a session on me. Next day, I'm a completely different person. So the effects it affects us for the rest of our life, but it also, it changed me within a day of just having my first session. And so I was going to school at that time, getting my psychology degree, and I was looking at different ways for holistic therapy. So people who are having trauma don't have to keep reliving it and learning how to just cope with their trauma, but they get to learn how to actually heal and move forward. So when I experienced that, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And so I've been practicing for 5 years now.
Wow. To me, that is very interesting, and something, maybe later I'm going to, when we're done, kind of look into a little more. Very interesting. And 4,000 is not a lot of people. Are we talking across the United States, across United States?
The whole world.
The whole world.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. That's definitely not a lot.
Yeah.
Very little. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your book, you talk about this, and I'm thinking this is a book that's going to be really helpful to other women out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to say congratulations to you, actually, for putting yourself in a vulnerable position to put yourself out there, to write a book, to speak about what's going on. I'm a survivor of mental and physical abuse as well, and sexual abuse with an ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And, I went to see somebody for help, and they said, by the time I was done, I was beating myself up all the time. And by the time I was done, he said to me, you're 99% better. You'll never be 100% better. It's always going to be something. And I did the what if I did this and I should have did that. And I was beating myself up over my choices. And ultimately I had to come to the realization they're the ones that did this to me, which was really difficult. So yeah, talking about, especially when it's something like this, it's really can be difficult. So yes, I really want to thank you for, again, being vulnerable and doing that. So let's talk about what's in your book. Let's do the deep dive here.
Yeah. So this is my book. It's called Healing the Survivors, The 8 Steps to Whole Self-Healing. You can find it on Amazon. It's was released back in December. But what my book is really about is when we are surviving, we have all these different things that we're going through, especially trying to find self-love, honestly, for ourselves, because we blame ourselves. We look within ourselves. And here's the thing that I went through was people were telling me, get over it. You need to just move on. But when I asked for help and said, okay, show me, well, no one had the answers. They were just, go talk to a therapist, go do this, go do this. But no one showed me hey, Jacquelyn, this is what you need to do to actually heal. And so my book is like that blueprint of the things that I did to actually heal and step into my full power. So then when I was writing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I still need to heal that. And so what I love about it is I'm going through the book with you. It's like I'm holding your hand throughout it, through the different things. So the first chapter I start with is just forgiveness. And when I say forgiveness, it's not about that person, it's forgiving yourself, because we blame ourselves. And when we start with that firm foundation of self-love, it makes it so you do circle around and have that full healing that you need. Because if you don't start there, well, then you're going to end up having to start all over because you never truly forgave and loved yourself. So my book go through different things. I have journal entries. I have affirmations, meditations for you to listen to. So you are getting that healing, because I know like healing isn't always accessible to people, or maybe you haven't talked about your trauma yet. And so actually my book is really small, but I wanted it so you can hold it close to you, so that you feel like you're safe and secure as you're healing. And maybe eventually you can take that healing and go and share your story with other people to inspire. So my book, I wrote it back in August is really when I started writing it. And then I published it in December. And when I was going through that process, it was like, how do I help heal people while they read? Or how do I empower them? Or how do I give them the blueprint of what I did? Because I didn't do it just in a Western way of therapy. I'm from a Native American background. I'm Native American. And so I used my cultural ceremonies to heal. And so I wanted to reflect of the things that people don't usually get to experience, bring my own story in. And I don't go into detail about the things either, just because I'm like, that's one, our story is supposed to be about empowering ourselves. It's not to either trigger people's trauma, but it's supposed to inspire. And so the way I wrote it was to show you just a little glimpse of what I was going through, but what I did to really come out of it. So if people want to read it, then they also feel like their story is being heard, but they can also be empowered by it as well.
I like that. It's very mindful, because you know, if you want to help somebody, you definitely don't want to trigger those like them constantly going through it while they're reading your book. Like, you know, for me, I'd be like, oh, I can't read this, you know.
Yeah.
But so I like what you talked about, and you actually touched on exactly what I was saying I was going through. You know, I was just blaming myself all the time, and I needed to get past that. And it's a unique, like I said, it's different. I never heard of it before. It's so unique. And I think like I really, really like this. So hearing this for the first time, like I'm pretty impressed. Like I hope that there will be more people doing this in the future, and you know, be able to get more help out there. I mean, statistically, it's 1 in 4 women will have to deal with abuse of some sort, right? I don't know if that stat's changed, but
yeah,
you know.
now it's 1 in 3. And in the indigenous communities, Latin, you know, Native American, it's 2 of 3. So the statistics is very high. And so that's why I was like, I need, like, my mission in life is to help women and men heal from their trauma so that they can have that freedom and then step into their power, because oftentimes we tend to neglect ourselves as we heal. So we need to bring that into that sacred space again.
I'm gonna just flash your book up here for people. See if I can do this. There we go. Healing the Survivor's 8 Steps to Whole Self Healing. I love this. I love that you have done this. I think it's a need for survivors to have something. I don't want to call it a handbook, but you know, these steps are going to be healing. And I'm super impressed. Like, it's just, I just can't get over how much like these 8 steps are going to help people. All right. So I actually want to put this picture up. This is, oh, if I can get it to work. There we go. Hey, there we go. I love your profile picture. Is this the same picture on all your platforms?
Yes, it is.
I love it. So if people are looking for you, that's your profile picture, and they can follow you on
Instagram and Facebook. I have a TikTok as well, and a YouTube channel. I don't have Twitter though.
You are also on Clubhouse. And before we get into some lightening things up, I want to mention that you are on Clubhouse. And we were discussing just before I come on, because you didn't tell me too much in advance, but you were telling me about the Women's Summit that you're doing. So it's the Women's Abuse Awareness on Clubhouse, March 31st at 9 a.m. So our Clubhouse people can get on there for free and check it out. And it is, if they're looking for it, see if we can do this two at the same time. There we go. It is the one percenters dot club when they're looking for it. So the one percenters club. All right. And I will mention that again on the end, because anybody coming in late, I would definitely want them to know about it. So I think, oh, how many speakers do you have? So sorry, did you tell me it was like 24 hours? What did you say?
So it's going to be a 24-hour event. So it starts at 9 a.m. It will end at 9 a.m. April 1st. So we have many speakers coming. Again, it's just right now we're in the blueprint of it all. So I'm hosting this with Lena Nolan and Kimberly Houseman. And what we're doing is we wanted to create a space for survivors to come, be able to share their story, feel empowered with their story, and also help them heal at the same time. So this event is a 24-hour event. You can go to One Percenters Club to even register. You can also become a speaker. So if you go and register at the onepercenters.club, you can actually become a speaker for this event as well.
And are people going to be able to ask questions on that platform? Sometimes people can ask questions. Sometimes they just have speakers. So
yes.
Will this be speakers only, questions?
It'll be Q&A, speakers. It's everything. People will be able to get healing as well. So it's going to be an amazing event. So if you are on Clubhouse, make sure to attend that on the 31st.
I'm going to have to make sure I register for that. So I'm wondering, everything that happened with you and you writing this book, is that where your speaking career began, or was there something more before that, or did this kind of, I'd say things happen and then you kind of move in a direction and this is what you found you needed to be doing this speaking?
So my speaking career began at 16 years old. I received a grant through Running Strong for Native Indigenous youth. And so that's really where I started speaking. It was more of just raising awareness for the missing Indigenous women, also helping get our education system changed to more of the correct history than what's actually written. So I started that about 16 years old. I spoke at the White House Summit for Native Youth in 2016. And so that's really where it began. But when I and my healing was taking place, I started seeing more of what I wanted to start doing. So that was when I started to focus on what is my message, who am I trying to support out there. And so that's when I started writing my book about my story and how I was healing. And then I was all of a sudden, it's like, this is what my mission is. And so I started more speaking events about how to heal from trauma, how to heal from generational trauma, and then now empowering women to step into their full potential self and feel empowered as women. So that's really what I've been focusing for the past year now.
Wow. Like 16, starting at 16. That's incredible. You must have been inspirational to a lot of other women, even at 16, to move in the direction that you've been moving.
Yeah. So that's what happens when you have a support system behind you who kind of pushes you, like, you're meant for more, you're going to come out of this. And so that's, my family is like the biggest reason why I am where I'm at, because they kept pushing me, or I had mentors throughout my whole life to get me to where I am now. And I still am in that learning mindset. Like, now I'm working with Les Brown. He's training us to be those motivational speakers to inspire and help people over the world. So it's been a very interesting journey for sure. I mean, now I'm 23, and so I'm excited for what's going to happen in the next couple years for me, just to help people heal and really empower people over the world.
I'll be watching for you, because that is an incredible protege, I'll say, group, because he's teaching all of us, and it's so incredible what he's doing there, the love he's pouring on all of us to that we are worthy, that he believes in us, and that we can do this. We can get out there and get our messages out there.
Yeah.
All right, let's lighten it up some more. What is something fun you like to do?
What I love to do is play softball. Or either, you find me playing softball, playing the piano. I have a 2-year-old daughter too. So playing with her. So that's really what I like to spend my time doing. And then spending time with my family.
That is fun. I used to play softball. I loved it.
It's fun. I love it.
All right. If you had one wish, what would it be?
One wish. I would wish for healing all over the world, because I know how important it is. And if we all just truly healed ourselves, I think we would make a huge impact in shifts in the whole world.
So you can wish for healing and I'll wish for love, and then it'll be just perfect.
Exactly. So you use your wish, I'll use mine.
Yeah. What is something that you are really looking forward to in the future? And it can be something like that you actually have in the works, or something you just have like a vision. This comes to mind. Les said he was going to be on a stage with so-and-so, and he went around and he said, he was telling people, I'm going to be on the stage. I can't remember the person's name. I'm going to be on the stage with so-and-so. And then,
Zig Ziglar, is that the one?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was, what was the last one?
Zig Ziglar?
No, it wasn't Zig. For some reason, I'm thinking it was like an evangelist person, something like that. Anyways, he was talking about it in one of the groups, and it was so funny because he's like, I'm going to be on that stage with so-and-so. And they're like, oh, okay. And then, when? He's like, I don't know, but do you know him? Or do you know somebody that can get me in touch with him? So he had that vision to be on that stage. And, he was determined that was going to happen. Yeah. So if something's already in the works, or, something you just envision, like it might seem really out there to you, but might happen. Well, it will happen.
I am definitely a person who says it will happen just because it has. So last year, I'll take you back to last year. I wrote down like where I wanted to be in 5 years, and it's all happened within this year. So I wrote down I was going to be an author. I would have 2 books published. I was in a collaboration with to be empowered by diversity or adversity, and then also my own book, Healing the Survivor. So I've already checked those 2. So what I'm in the works of right now is creating the summits for women who have gone through abuse. So that's happening next weekend, or next Wednesday. So things are already happening. So for the future self, because I was asking myself this question earlier, actually, where I said, okay, where I'm going to be after this, because it's already happened. Honestly, I really want to be on stage with Brene Brown and just sharing and empowering women through our vulnerability and to inspire. So I want this to happen next year. I don't know how it's going to happen. So if anyone's listening and knows Brene Brown, let me know. I really want to do that and start doing retreats for women to come and get healing. And also help them step into their power. So right now I'm working with celebrities to help them find their voice, because once they find their voice and they're healed, I'm only one person, so I can't do it alone. So by having other people who are already influential and they can share their story, we're going to touch the masses and heal. So I'm working with celebrities doing that right now. So for the future self, it's definitely being more out there, being a public speaker to help inspire women and men to heal so they can empower others. Because when we're starting to move and have that motion, so many people's lives are going to be touched, and it's going to be extremely powerful.
So our comment section's working today. Somehow I fixed what my problem was. And Tamara says she's looking forward to your book being released to the world. And Sandra says you're amazing. And Alyssa says congratulations. So
thank you.
let me see. What else do I have? I'm just going to touch on your favorite quote. What is your favorite quote and by who?
My favorite quote is "A pursuit of a dream heals broken wings." That's by Billy Mills. And I actually have it tattooed on my shoulder because when I started to dream again from healing from my trauma, it pushed me to not look within of what was happening, but to look forward, to heal and keep going. So for me, it's "A pursuit of a dream heals broken wings," because when you have your wings, you fly. And so that is my favorite quote ever. Honestly, I don't know if anyone could change that for me, or I'll have to get a new tattoo at that point.
That is a great quote. I don't think you're going to need to change your tattoo. So, we're all working on speeches and, how we're going to impact the world even more. Well, with Les Brown. So I know, and I don't have any of the quotes right now of yours that you have said, but there was one, and I can't remember exactly what it was. You may know since you said it.
Yeah. It was "A pursuit of a dream leads you to your freedom."
All right. So you're definitely about having dreams and going for your dreams. And I want to add that I saw we're developing these committees, and I saw you grabbing that bull by the horn, and I'm like, that's a go-getter girl.
When someone calls you to take action, I'll know you don't wait. So I was like, "Oh, no one's doing this? Okay, I will do it then."
Let's see. Some of these questions you've already answered, like, just finding out all this stuff about you. It's like, it's mind blowing. So I just don't want to re-ask these. So just give me a second here. All right. Oh, I think, all right. So what I'm going to do, I want to put that book up again. I found that picture very powerful with the red paint over. I wanted to actually ask you about that because I don't know, like I look at it and I think, this hand over. Anyways, I'll let you explain that to me a little bit. I'm really interested in finding out about that.
Yeah. So in my culture, we have the symbolism for this, and it's for the missing Indigenous women. So in my Native community, thousands of women are missing from our reservations that have been sexually abused and murdered. So this is really about raising awareness to sexual abuse and human trafficking because of this movement that's happening and in our communities. People are missing, and it's being overlooked. So in this, it's one, representing those women who don't have a voice to speak about their story. It's to inspire people, because that is a really in your face photo. So the reason why I have it in red, but then also have it in black and white, is to represent that this is not just something that's happening now. It was generational trauma as well. And so that's why I have it this way, because I'm not someone who is going to be quiet. I'm going to be in your face about what's happening. So my book is about that, and not having to be quiet anymore, and owning your voice, and that your story deserves to be heard. So that is what the background of my book, the cover, is.
Well, thank you for speaking about it again. And, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here and sharing with us all. And there we go. And the other thing I wanted to put back up was the Women's Abuse Awareness Club on March 31st, 24 hours, starting at 9 a.m. And it is in the One Percenters Club on Clubhouse. I almost
Yeah.
blanked out there, Clubhouse. So I think that's going to be very interesting. And, you know, I love all the work that you are putting in to help women and men heal. You know, you're doing such a huge service, I think, to, I want to say the community, but it's the world. It's not just one small community. It's not, you know, it's the world. And I think I see your vision. I see your vision. I see you taking this out to the world and helping people heal and being on those stages. So thank you so much for coming on here, being off the cuff with us today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that this is going to be very helpful to someone out there, probably more than one. And I also want to take a second before we go just to let people know on YouTube to I can't talk now. Subscribe to the channel, and you know, they can also follow you as well as myself on Facebook, and of course Instagram. And I leave Instagram out all the time because I never understood Instagram, and now I'm on Clubhouse and I'm like, oh, I got to do this Instagram stuff. And you know, of course, if they are finding value in this, please share this so that it can reach somebody else. And you know what, even if you think, you know, I don't know anybody, and you share it, it's going to reach somebody. I guarantee it's going to reach somebody. I mean, the stats, like you said, have changed. 1 in 3 women are abused in one way or another. Like, it's going to reach somebody. I guarantee it. So, all right. Thank you, people, for our viewers here. And I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Thank you so much, Jacquelyn. Like, I'm like almost mesmerized by you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. It was a pleasure. And anyone who's watching, you can connect with me. You feel free to message me. I'm there. I'm also a practitioner. So if whatever resonated with you, feel free to reach out to me. I do have a women's support group called Healing the Survivors on Facebook that you're more than welcome to join as well.
Is that a free group? Is that a paid group?
Yes, it's a free group.
Free group. Awesome. You're doing such a service to everyone out there. Good luck in all your future endeavors, and we will end it here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.